Hey everybody, I'm Amber.
And I'm Maddie.
And we're Witches Talking Tarot. Tonight we are bringing you
5 awesome ways to celebrate the holidays or Samhain.
Yes. So one thing that I really think is cool, I just learned about, I was listening to some podcasts as I got prepared for this, and I believe it was the White Witch podcast I was listening to, and no, that's not the one that talked about it, but I was listening to the White Witch podcast. She has a very lovely voice. If you like British accents, definitely check her out. I didn't mean anything bad by that. Please don't misunderstand. I just mean she has a very nice, lovely voice. I listen to Twisted Philly because she has a nice voice, and she has a Philly accent, and I like Philly accents because I used to live there. So that's all I mean. I'm a weird person, and for the weird people out there, I hope you appreciate my insight. Anywho, so I learned about a way of honoring the dead, even if you're not near your ancestors' burial areas, because, you know, at Samhain we believe the veil is thinning, the dead are able to walk the earth with us. So in the days leading up to Samhain, a lot of witches will walk in local graveyards and just give little offerings of biodegradable things like herbs and flowers. Always give offerings outside of things that are good for the earth. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm asking.
You can even return a crystal to the earth.
Yeah.
You could do an acorn if you feel so.
Plant a seed. That's a great offering. But they go through the graveyard and they make offerings to let the dead know that they are honored and remembered this time of year, and to let them know that they're invited and welcome up on the above world. And another way of honoring the dead and letting them know that they're welcome in the space, not necessarily within your home, is to make an outside offering table of little goodies for the dead. Not necessarily candy for your trick-or-treaters, but soul cakes,
like apples, and the fun thing is you may wake up and they'll be gone.
Oh.
I bet they would be.
I bet they would.
I really do.
I do. That's a good one.
So Samhain and the autumn equinox. Well, I believe the autumn equinox is May 1, so I apologize. But Samhain and the end of autumn,
the whole wheel of the year keeps on turning.
Is a great time to reflect on the past year, because this is known as the Witch's New Year. You know, everything is dying outside. It's a time to just breathe. You can take a walk and look at the beautiful trees. Samhain is literally the time of year that shows that dying is not the worst of things. I mean, it just shows things are reborn. We're preparing for the rebirth of the, earth.
Right.
And,
Absolutely.
So
it's
just
time for reflection
and letting go of the past and saying goodbye, things that no longer serve you. You can do so through meditation. Or, like I suggested, take a walk either in a local park, go out to your backyard, walk up and down in your street. Odds are, unless you're living in New York City or Chicago or something like that.
New York City has that great,
I'm sure there's trees.
I don't know enough about Central Park anymore. I just know New York City from TV, so there are trees. There you go. There are trees everywhere. Because plants,
the weather changing. Even though you can feel it.
You can feel it. I know. We're blessed enough tonight to have this wonderful Samhain weather.
Right.
These little rainstorms kicking out there. It's really nice. And
honoring your ancestors specifically.
Honoring your ancestors.
Because we've already discussed honoring the dead, and we do want to honor the dead, because even though we didn't know them, we acknowledge that they existed, and that's very important. I imagine it gets lonely. Well, maybe not for everyone. It depends on your belief.
But I once heard that in South America, what I heard was a Mexican belief system was there are 3 deaths. The first death is when you learn that you're going to die, that you're mortal. The second death is when your physical body dies. And then the third death is when your name is no longer spoken.
No.
So there's lots of different ways you can honor your ancestors.
You could walk through the graveyards and
if you don't know their names, but
I would.
If you can see the gravestones, sometimes they you can't read the writing anymore. I've been in a lot of old graveyards where you can't.
Or say your ancestors.
Yeah, but that's what I do is I will say the names of all of my ancestors that I'm aware of, and then I will go further and say, and their mother, and their mother, and their mother, and their father, and their father, and their father, because I may not know their name, but the energy knows that this person's names father's father's father was. So they're still being mentioned even if I don't know them by name. And quite often I'll write their name on a piece of paper and feed it into the fire. Because fires are great for Samhain. You can have a bonfire.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah.
There's different things you can leave. Candles, assuming
Candles are
while attended.
Yes, candles must be attended. Incense must be attended.
I guess you could use the LED candles, but
yeah,
I imagine
but any form of light, really.
I mean, because
windows. It represents the sun and the fact that the sun will come again, even though we are moving into the dark part of the earth.
Right. And when you leave them in the windows, it lets them know that you remember them, and it helps show them a way home.
Yes.
A way that they're honored.
Right. And bonfires are a way to not only celebrate the dead and give them light in the dark night, because like in the Slavic tradition, and I believe in Lithuania, and I think my friend who's from the Philippines told me in the Philippines as well, they have bonfires in the graveyard for the dead.
Oh, wow, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
And I mean, so bonfires are huge, and you can have a bonfire, even if you're not wanting to honor your ancestors, you can have a bonfire just for celebrating Samhain.
Right.
You can feed different kinds of herbs in that have Samhain associations. Like you could put cinnamon.
Offerings. You can do
all sorts of offerings. You can leave apples as offerings.
Which brings us to you could celebrate with a feast, a small feast.
Absolutely.
There are plenty. Yeah, right. there are plenty of vegetables in season now, particularly pumpkin. Maybe you want a pumpkin pie. We've got squashes. We want maybe some like baked squash or sauteed squash, or even
squash soups.
Right, yes, soups and
I wasn't
stews.
making a good soup reference again. I really do like squash and soup. And pumpkin soup, butternut squash is so good.
It's soup season. Samhain and Halloween
soup
and
season.
in autumn is fucking
and
soup
chili.
season.
You know, because peppers are in season.
Right.
They're coming at their end, I think, this time of year.
Right,
So,
exactly.
I mean, really, Mabon's the second harvest, but Samhain's the last time you're getting any of that fresh food.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And it's delicious.
I mean,
it's
in
wonderful.
ancient times.
Well,
now we have the grocery store.
I believe.
If you work off of your own garden.
Right. Well, I believe in Mexico they have picnics in
the graveyards. I believe you're right. I do.
Because you were talking about the bonfires, and that's what reminded me. So food,
and
when
the Slavs have bonfires in the graveyards, they have picnics. They eat. They feast with the dead, and they leave soul cakes. Or there's a word for it, and it starts with a K, and I haven't learned how to say it yet.
So you don't want to say it.
Yeah. I'm learning. My grandfather was going to teach me Russian before he passed.
Feasting and remembering is a great way to
honoring ancestors, feasting with them, mom dinners.
Right.
Set a place at your feast with your squash soup and your pumpkin bread and your zucchini bread and your wonderful little whatever meat or non-meat you choose, apple pie.
There's plenty of vegan options you can choose
absolutely.
too. Like this is the last harvest.
Right, it is, and you can just leave an empty space for your ancestors. You know, something for them to be able to join you.
So how do you guys plan on celebrating Samhain? Or if you're watching this after Samhain, how did you celebrate?
Let us know in the comments. In addition to spiritual things, I usually get together with friends and do all sorts of other things.
Trick or treating? Do you have kids?
Right? I like to carve my pumpkin while I watch the original Halloween with the Queen, Jamie Lee Curtis. Absolutely every year. My husband's trying to figure it out right now because our TV's broken. So.
No!
I know. I have it on DVD. I buy it. I love that movie. I'll watch it in July.
Hocus Pocus.
We'll see.
Halloween Town.
Yeah, all of these. I bought them on DVD last year, and now this year my TV's broken, and I'm like,
popcorn. Sorry, I'm just off the
absolutely.
They had popcorn all the time back then.
And caramel apples.
Right, exactly. Yes. Bobbing for apples.
Right.
Watch our last video.
Sweet apples. Yes, last video we talk about the traditions and where they came from.
Right. Yeah. Well, anyway, thank you for joining us.
A great night.
Thank you for joining us. We have our Patreon, which would be awesome for you guys to check out. There's going to be a link in the description.
Yes. And also make sure you follow us on social media, Twitter and Instagram, which is Talking Tarot.
Right. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next video.
We'll see you next video. Bye, guys.